right. So this is a really good question. And I will share my thoughts about a teleprompter, right? I will tell you exactly why I never used to use one and why I do not recommend using one, especially when you're first starting to create video content. So here's the thing. Teleprompters are amazing. They're amazing tools. When you're first starting out creating video content, one thing that we are all nervous about is saying the wrong things, right? Let me know if you think about this all the time. Like, oh my gosh, Zaylee, like I'm scared of saying the wrong thing or being wrong or, all of that stuff. We all go through it. We're not perfect. Nobody is perfect here. I'm not perfect here. And I have the same worries that you have. But I have learned how to actually overcome those things, right? So having the struggle of feeling that way, and I tell you guys this all the time, it lets you know, I need to do a little bit more research as it pertains to what I'm doing. That's all. Right? Now, if you had a teleprompter, then you can just read. You can copy from a website and you can read everything, right? Based on, and then let me tell you, even doing that is difficult. Like me using a teleprompter now, and I only got it because I'm doing much more brand work because of COVID. A lot more brands are like, hey, Zaylee, we have this thing. We do not have an in-studio crew. Your video quality is amazing. Your personality on camera is amazing. How can we hire you to do this? So that's what I've been doing a lot lately. So that's the only reason why I got it, because when you're doing brand sponsorships and things like that, you have specific things that you need to say. And they're not always things that are heart-centered or things that you remember from, your brain, your working brain every single day. You guys know I tell you as it is. Now, so because of that, one thing that I have done is invested in a teleprompter. But in the beginning, I don't advise that because we have so many other things to think about. What I would prefer that you do is script your video content, right? And you guys know that I shared a scripting formula. I feel like when you are unscripted, you are so much more into what you're saying. So even for today, you guys know I love sharing back end things that I'm doing. For today, the only thing that I really scripted, to be really honest with you guys, was the beginning, right? Where I wanted to make sure that I was sharing everything that I actually wanted to share with you guys. Like, hey, if you are here, definitely share, with the viewers that, or your friends that you have, or I shared a bit of housekeeping. And so I put that on the teleprompter, but that's all that I put on there because I know in teaching or in answering these questions, I can speak from the heart. Because this is what I do. This is my life. This is the daily, and this is what I love to do. So I can share from the heart as it pertains to questions and queries and things like that. But when you are doing a show, you got to remember, I got to hit this, that, and this. And I was able to use my teleprompter to do that. So that's why I don't recommend using a teleprompter when you just are starting to get on camera, because I don't want you being a robot. I want you, when you're just starting to get into video, I want you to get into your personality and who you are. And if you're using a teleprompter, you will be focused on reading, and you don't want to do that. And even though I am using a teleprompter at times, it's really more bullet points, because then I can go off of my brain, right? It's hard to just sit and read something, and I do not recommend that. Sydney said, I used to go unscripted, but then I had so much editing, so I switched to teleprompters, and now I'm thinking of going back to unscripted. Exactly. I feel like when I love going unscripted because if I have a bullet point, I can go off the dome on that bullet point and just flow. I love flowing from the heart. I feel like my viewers can see when I'm flowing from the heart. And using a teleprompter takes practice. It takes having a personality, first of all. Like I said, when you go unscripted, you get to develop that. You get to connect with your audience. You get to communicate. It's so much, goodness. And then you can get into mastering how to read online. Now, for my teleprompter, I put it inside of my Amazon store, right? Because I can't even remember the name of it right now. I think it's called the Glide Gear. teleprompter. It is $199, so it was an investment. But when I tell you guys to make an investment, it's really something that you are going to be using for the long term, right? So don't be too nervous about your teleprompter and it being a lot of money. These are tools for our craft, and they're only going to make what you're doing so much better. Somebody said they're late to the party. I can't see your name, but girl, yes, you are late. It's 7:34. But I'm still happy to have you here, right? So you got to think about it in that way. So the first thing that I do is I make sure that I know exactly what I'm going to say. I make sure that I have my bullet points, and then I put them on the teleprompter. The teleprompter app that I use is called Prompt Smart. And I love it. It's another investment, but it helps me to be able to show up the best for you guys, right? And you guys know that listen, if I have to use my phone, I definitely will. And it's something that I've done on live before. I think that when you are more yourself and you're not trying to be perfect or present yourself as something that you are not, your videos are so much more interesting. Like, I posted a video on YouTube this week where I showed my back end, and it was a very relaxed, hey, this is exactly what it is kind of video. Be yourself. You don't have to try to be homegirl next door. But of course, you can craft your own on-camera persona until you get comfortable with who you are exactly, right? But so I use Prompt Smart. The reason why I use Prompt Smart is because it kind of like, it has a way of listening to what you're saying, and then it picks up what you're saying, and the screen moves while you're saying something. I do like that option of it because it just helps while you're going through what you're reading. You don't have to think too much. However, today I actually used their remote. I don't know if you guys can see that. You guys probably can't see that because my phone is probably blurred out, but I use my iPad in the teleprompter, and they have a remote control, and you can move it up or down. Don't worry, I will be creating an in-depth video on this, so you guys know. Yes, Sydney said she uses Prompt Smart too. So it's a really cool tool. And I love that I can go back and forth with my phone as the remote and with my iPad as the thing that I am reading into. So let me see. LJ, I think, was the person who asked that. So LJ Walker, you are featured on our show today. Congratulations. I picked your question inside of the Facebook group. You guys know that you can get into the Facebook group and do Ask Zaylee as the hashtag, and I will be picking your questions. You'll get to be featured on our show every Friday. So yes, that is actually what I use, and I love it.